Hey there, out on the trail, and I'm on the Borrego Bear Hollow, or is it Bear Wallow Trail in the Santa Fe National Forest. It's a 4 mile trail that is just beautiful. It's gorgeous. So I'm going to already took a few images with my iPhone. I always do. There hasn't been a hike yet where I haven't. So what I'm going to do is actually show you how I edit those back in my office. Hold on a minute. Morning, and actually take them through a little process that I do. I could do it using Adobe Mobile, which I absolutely love, but I think it's also fun to take them and import them into my desktop computer. So I'm going to do that, and I thought this would be a good little beginning to the video, put things in context, like where the images came from. And so it's but this trail is just gorgeous. So I've got my little buddy here with me, Norman. Say hi, Norman. He loves this trail. It's just like an endless scent opportunity from him. Cool. So I'm going to kind of cut this in and edit this video in with another video I'm going to do later, so it all comes together and kind of a little fun little thing to share. So by the way, listening to a great podcast, the Self-Care Savage podcast with Scott Tatum, and it is this. He's done a phenomenal. He got his start just doing little quick videos on Instagram. Now it's evolved into a really nice podcast that he's got an incredible following. Now he's doing interviews with some other outdoor adventure oriented individuals telling their stories. And I love it. So positive feeds positive. So so have a good day. Okay, so I'm back in my home office in Santa Fe, at my iMac computer, where I do the vast majority of my image editing using Adobe Lightroom Classic. I'm going to show you a few of the images that I captured using that iPhone 13 while I was on the trail earlier this morning, the Borrego Trail up in Santa Fe National Forest, and found and captured kind of some fun subjects. Like I said, what I said earlier, I don't think there's ever been a time I've done a hike where I didn't take at least one, two, several images. So it's just that I can't help it. It's what I do. I'm a photographer, so like the line in the Asteroid City. All right, so which was it? It was a little bit disappointing. All right, I digress. Okay, this is what you can do if you've got some really fun images on your phone, and most people, that's fine. They'll just do little some editing, and I do a lot of editing on the phone itself using the Adobe mobile app, which is fantastic. I also use the Nix Snapseed app, but since I've been using the Adobe mobile app, I haven't had an urge to go over to Nix Snapseed in a while. So that's great. However, don't feel like you can't take those images and put them, if you have some type of image editing program on your laptop or desktop computer, like I have with Adobe, with the Adobe Lightroom product. And then you can bring those images in and do some really more fine tuning. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you what I've already done. I picked out several images from this morning that just by looking them on the phone, I can say, okay, this is worth putting over onto the desktop and doing some editing with. And these are the ones that I took during the hike where I did the video from earlier. Okay, so I've already loaded these into Lightroom to save time on this video, but how I got them over from my phone to here is just simply using the airdrop. tool on the iPhone and into the iMac. And then what I do is I bring those JPEGs into a project folder on the desktop, then import them into Lightroom Classic for fine tuning and editing, keywording, and things like that. And so I've already worked on this one, and I thought this is a really pretty decent capture with an iPhone. Is it perfect? No, but it's still worth editing and having a little fun with. The sharpness is pretty good, but it's not quite as good as, and keep in mind, I've been doing this for years and years, as a dedicated DSLR, like I use a Canon 5D Mark IV, which is a fantastic camera with like a Canon 100mm macro lens. It's going to be much sharper than what your iPhone can do. However, if you're just interested in sharing these, posting these on social media, you're not interested in making a 30 by 40 canvas gallery wrap huge print, I think it's plenty sharp enough. There's just little things you can do now to enhance that sharpening. So what I did, I added a little bit of vignetting effect, and I used a post crop vignetting tool here in the develop part of the develop panel in Lightroom Classic. I added some sharpening, and I did sharpening as a masking tool. And how you do that is you hold down the Option key, you slide the masking tool over to about 70, so we would use 77 and 80, okay? And then while holding that Option tool down, you take the amount all the way to 150. What that does is it just sharpens these highlighted edges, not everything else, so it doesn't look over sharpened. All right, so fun little tip there to increase some sharpness on iPhone images. And then I adjust the clarity, add a little bit of clarity to it. And that's about it. So also, when I go back to the library module, I can add in metadata. All right, so there's already metadata with that image, date and time when the image was taken, what kind of iPhone it was, what were the image settings. Okay, so that's all that's automatically included in the image. I added a title, caption, my copyright information, myself as a creator, and the credit line and a description: American Lady Butterfly on Cutleaf Coneflower in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And then I added these keywords, keyword tags, that goes with the metadata. That's very helpful if ever you use a photo sharing post on a photo sharing community like Flickr or 500px. Editors, publishers, and whatnot, that is how they're going to find one of your images. And I've had that happen many times, right? So so I added in keywords: distance, American Lady Butterfly, Borrego Trail, Cutleaf Coneflower, insect, my name, nature photography, New Mexico photography, Santa Fe National Forest, summer wildflower. I could probably add more, but that's a pretty good list. So when I post that information along with my credit line information and copyright information is with that file wherever it goes. So that's nice. And then I'll export it out. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the file name just a little bit. So it will it will go into the project folder. The export function in Lightroom Classic is fantastic. So I don't post full-size JPEGs even from the phone unless I'm posting directly from the phone. But if I'm editing, I'm going to reduce that file size for what I consider optimal viewing on a screen. All right, so I'm going to select a destination folder to export to. I'm going to go to Trail Photography Video, today's date, choose that. I'm going to make sure it's an sRGB color space JPEG. I'm going to resize that file, and this is my web ready, what I call optimal file size, 2048 by 2048 pixels. Within those parameters, at 72 DPI is a great resolution for image viewing on a screen. And then I'm also going to include my little logo watermark on the lower right hand side. So now, and I'm going to post a few of these images at the end of this video. Also, while I'm thinking about it, I mentioned the podcast out on the trail that I was listening to. I'm going to post a link to that podcast with the description to this video on YouTube, and also add a link on Instagram. So it is the hold on, I wrote it down. Self Care Savage podcast with Scott Tatum. Fantastic podcast, and he had a great episode today. I think it was just came out yesterday, where he interviewed Shelby Stanger, who hosts a podcast on REI on their series of podcasts called Wild Ideas Worth Living, and it was just the perfect podcast to listen out on that trail. So I'm going to post those links as well, and mention again in the description the Adobe Lightroom products that I use. So I'm glad I remember that. All right, so let's go see now. Oh, doggone it! I meant to make this larger. I wish. All right. Well, anyway, sorry I was so small there. But anyways, let's go back out and see what that looks like. Okay, now I've got a web ready image. Boom. And there it is, resized, ready to go. A little sharpened, a little vignetting. Taken a cool iPhone image and made it really pop. All right. So yeah, fun. Let me stop sharing, wrap this up, and I hope that was helpful. And yeah, and I'm going to do the other ones as well, so I'll put them at the end of the video. So thanks for joining me this morning, this afternoon, and just I'm really happy to be able to share, what you can do with just the phone you've got available on these hikes. And you're always going to run into something fun and interesting. So, it's what you can do afterwards where it gets a lot of fun. All right. So thanks.